Keeping up with AI news every day, it feels like you're drinking from a fire hose, right?
Absolutely. It's just constant.
So for this news deep dive, we've tried to filter it down, find the really essential updates you need to know about what's happening, well, right now.
Exactly. Our goal is simple. Cut through the noise, pull out the critical stuff from the latest news, the latest research.
We've looked at articles, papers.
Right, just to give you that clear, concise picture of today's key AI moves.
Okay, let's jump in. First, big theme, AI agents. They seem to be everywhere, or at least the talk of them
Oh,
is.
definitely. Boston Consulting Group, they're projecting, get this, a 45% compound annual growth rate for agents in the workplace.
45%. That's huge. It really signals a major shift in how companies are thinking about automation.
Yeah, and it's not just projections. Look at the money flowing in. Relevance AI just pulled in $24 million.
Just to help businesses build AI agent teams.
Exactly. That kind of investment, well, it shows real market belief that these agents are ready for prime time, ready to deliver actual value.
We're also seeing the conversation shift towards the how. Like, how do you actually build and deploy these things safely?
Right. ODSE East 2025, they've got sessions lined up focusing specifically on that. Building scalable, safe LLM agents.
Things like human-in-the-loop safety, designing robust tools.
Yeah, and embedding guardrails for bias, privacy, the practical stuff. They even have BlackRock talking about using Gen AI in asset management.
That's a serious real-world use case.
Definitely. And speaking of building blocks, the founder of AG2, it used to be AutoGen.
Oh yeah, AutoGen.
Well, he's apparently building something called Agent OS.
Like an operating system, but for AI agents.
Sort of seems that way. A dedicated OS to manage and coordinate these agents. It suggests the whole ecosystem is getting more mature, more structured.
Makes sense. If you're going to have teams of these things, you need infrastructure.
And for people wanting to get hands-on, you've got resources popping up.
Yeah.
Towards AI has articles on building agent teams using tools like NAD.
Right, and exploring ideas like autonomous DevOps with Manus AI, it helps bridge that gap from theory to actually doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also chatter about an agents marketplace.
Like an app store, but for AI agents.
Kind of, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine browsing and deploying pre-built agents for specific tasks. That could really lower the barrier for smaller businesses.
Interesting concept. On the, let's say, more experimental side, there's this thing called Viberina.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. A game-like simulation for testing agents.
Exactly. The idea seems to be creating a community platform where people can test how agents behave in different situations. Could be a cool way to learn faster.
It could. And you see detailed discussions bubbling up, too, like on the AI agents subreddit, people debating architectures.
Like separating out triage agents to handle the first pass on tasks.
Precisely. It shows people are really thinking through the nuts and bolts, making them more efficient.
And I think a really key point emerging from all this is that agents won't just do what we do now, but faster.
Right. The argument is they'll automate tasks we just didn't do before because it was too expensive or took too much time.
Unlocking new possibilities, potentially.
Exactly. New levels of productivity, maybe even new kinds of innovation.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. Big news from OpenAI.
Ah, yes. The control structure.
They've decided to stick with the nonprofit controlling the company, including ChatGPT. That's a reversal, wasn't it?
It was. Reports suggest it came after discussions with, well, civic leaders and attorneys general in California and Delaware.
Shows how much public and regulatory scrutiny these major AI labs are under, doesn't it?
Definitely. Governance is a huge issue.
Now let's talk education. The UAE is making AI a required subject.
From kindergarten all the way through 12th grade, that's quite a commitment.
It really is a national push to get the next generation AI ready from the ground up.
And it echoes what's happening, or what some want to happen, in the U.S. Over 250 tech leaders are pushing for mandatory computer science and AI in schools there, too.
So a growing consensus, really, that AI literacy needs to be foundational.
Seems that way. Tech giants basically calling for mandatory AI education.
Okay, but with all this power comes challenges, right? Generative AI misuse is a big one.
Unfortunately, yes. There was a really concerning report about an OpenAI video model being used to create non-consensual sexual content.
Ugh, that just highlights the absolute need for responsible development and strong safeguards.
It does. And on a related note, Mr. Deepfakes, which was apparently a major site for deepfake porn, was shut down.
That's something, I guess. But the underlying tech is still out there.
Right. The capability doesn't just vanish. But researchers are working on mitigation strategies.
Like trying to get models to unlearn sensitive information.
Exactly. And they've introduced a benchmark, an LOK-VQA, specifically to measure how well models can forget or unlearn problematic data, especially in multimodal contexts.
That's crucial work, and for developers working with video, there's a new tool.
Yeah, LM video frames.
Yeah.
It's pretty practical. Basically, chops up video into JPEG frames so vision LLMs can process video content, even if they don't natively support video input.
Handy workaround. Okay, let's switch to hardware. Some interesting shifts happening there.
Seems like it. Reportedly, AMD actually overtook NVIDIA in GPU sales in Germany.
Really? Which part?
The Radeon RX 9070 XT was the top seller, apparently. Shows the market's still very dynamic.
Competition is heating up, but NVIDIA isn't standing still, obviously.
No way! They've announced the RTX 5060, coming May 19th, priced at $299.
$299. That's quite aggressive for a new gen card.
It is, and laptops with it starting around $1099. So more options hitting that mid-range segment.
Interesting times. And speaking of competitions, Cerebra's CEO apparently found some common ground with NVIDIA.
Yeah, despite being competitors. And Cerebra's also landed a deal with IBM. So you see both rivalry and perhaps collaboration in the hardware space.
It's a complex landscape. Okay, finally, let's do a quick flyby of some recent research papers from ArcSpheith. Always a flood there.
Always. Highlights include using neural operators for system-level analysis, which is pretty technical. Also, AI video analysis for scoring stroke rehab.
That sounds potentially very impactful for healthcare.
It could be. There's also work on generating more coherent 3D gestures alongside speech, improving feature matching in computer vision.
Understanding why skip connections are so important in vision transformers, building teleoperated humanoid robots. The range is just incredible.
Absolutely. And it goes on. Localizing anatomical landmarks, improving diffusion models for image synthesis.
Analyzing the social worldview differences between LLMs, which sounds fascinating.
Right. And tackling geographic bias and hate speech detection, really important ethical work.
Plus, practical applications like speech translation for low-resource languages, this time Bemba, and African language.
And real-time spoken chatbots using new streaming synthesis techniques. Tools for faster data analysis like FastAbix and Adapars for PDFs.
Voice language models like Voila, aiming for real-time interaction. Ways to automatically figure out metrics for evaluating AI agents like Autolibra.
Agent pipelines for generating multi-turn conversation data. Resources for child language research. It just keeps going.
Even evaluating ChatGPT as a teaching assistant cost-effectively. Predicting FIFA World Cup matches.
Huh. Everyone wants to predict sports outcomes. Also, time series forecasting, climate modeling, drug discovery aid, even fantasy Premier League team selection using AI.
Okay, my head is spinning just listing them.
Mine too. It's just a snapshot, but it shows the sheer breadth and depth of AI research right now.
So yeah, that's our whirlwind tour of some key AI news and research headlines for today.
Hopefully this focused deep dive gave you a clear sense of the really significant developments.
Staying current is definitely a challenge in this field.
No kidding. But hopefully this overview gives you some valuable context on where things stand.
And as we wrap up, seeing AI weave itself more and more into daily life, you have to wonder about the cumulative impact of all these rapid changes.
Absolutely.
So here's something for you to chew on. With AI agents becoming more capable and autonomous, and education shifting towards AI literacy, what's the single biggest societal shift you predict we'll see, maybe sooner than we think? That's your thought for today.